Good morning. It looks a little bit like I might be on holiday. It's just a beautiful sunny morning today. I want to share with you some thoughts. I love what Liz shared about Daniel and how he didn't back down. He kept praying and pursuing God, even in the midst of hardship. Joshua, his favourite story is David and Goliath. We read it to him most nights in his kids' Bible because he absolutely loves it. There's this moment where Goliath laughs at David as he comes before him with no armour and he's just holding a slingshot, and David says, "I come before you in the name of the Lord God Almighty." I don't know whether David was afraid or whether he had fear of facing the giant with just a slingshot. I'm sure I would have had fear, but David was clear about his strength and his authority, and that came from God. And then, as we know, he went on to defeat Goliath because he knew the strength that he had. This season we're in of facing this horrific coronavirus pandemic might feel a little bit like a David and Goliath moment for some of us. We're facing something so massive with such horrific devastation power in which tens of thousands of people have already died, and it's hard to see an end or imagine what's going to happen next. In this time, it's like we're standing in front of a giant and fighting. So for some of us, that means going to work as frontline workers, fighting on to keep people alive and keeping our nation running. For other of us, that means fighting by staying at home and homeschooling children, or staying at home and facing loneliness and isolation to stop the spread of infection. None of us were prepared for this. None of us were expecting this year to go like this. David had never stood before a giant before. This was not what he was expecting when he went to go and see his brothers and drop off some food. But he had protected his flock. He had fought against bears and lions, and he knew where his authority and help came from. Psalm 121 says, "I lift my eyes up to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you, nor by day or by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore." None of us have faced this before. For our household, we're having some great times, but we're also having some really difficult times. And I just wanted to ask you, where is your strength and authority coming from today? Is it coming from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth, who watches over you? Is it coming from him, or actually are you pursuing and trying to do things yourself in your own strength? So I don't know today whether you're a key worker, which you are. We're immensely grateful for you. I don't know whether you're staying at home and having to pursue and fight for things all on your own in your own place. I want to encourage you today to lift your eyes up to the mountains. Where does your help come from? Let's be people who choose to see that our help comes from the Lord. May our strength come from him and him alone. And together we will get through this season. We will see breakthrough, and we will see this giant fall.